All right, guys, the CKB captain, our next guest, captures the hearts of MMA fans around the world with his epic, memorable performances and battles. One of the people responsible for growing the sport in Australasia and one of the most exciting lightweights to ever do it. It's a pleasure to welcome back the now super sexy, Super Saiyan, Super Dan Hooker to Submission Radio, live from Topgolf. Dan, thank you for joining us, man.
Oh, as always, Lance, thanks for having me.
Always our pleasure. I hope that still remains the best intro all week until you potentially do a pub talk, and then we're
that's hard. Yeah, that'll be hard to beat, boys. That'll be hard to beat.
Oscar's pretty magic, so if anyone could do it, he definitely can. I like Dave's intro as well, though. Dave does good intros. Let's just talk about the hair, man. Is this Super Saiyan Dan Hooker? What's going on?
Yeah, just a bit of a change up. I don't think the tattoos were enough. It was time to change old news. You know what I mean? I've gotten too used to them, so I thought I'd just change things up for fight week and just change the tune a bit.
I love how you've got like a million new tattoos and you're like, that's not enough. Got to do the hair as well. People are literally not going to recognize you when you're checking in. You'll be like, Dan Hooker, check in. They'll be like, you're not Dan Hooker. I know what Dan Hooker looks like, and that's not you.
Well, they haven't. Like, I thought it was quite good. I was like thinking, because usually like on the flight over, you get recognized quite a lot going through the airports and stuff like that. But it was, well, people were giving me a bit of a weird look, like, I recognize you, but I don't know where from. And I was going, I don't know either. So I thought it was quite good. I was thinking every fight week I might change the color so no one recognizes me. And I get a nice smooth travel.
See, this would have been perfect during COVID when you guys were doing the training sessions and the New Zealand media was following you guys around. The hair, an Inspector Gadget jacket, maybe somebody sitting on your shoulders would have been perfect. I gotta ask, man, like, what is blonde Dan Hooker like? What is the big difference?
Oh, I think a lot's changed, and like it's a bit of everything. I feel like this is a real turning point, and I really feel like it's a fresh start, and it's just this weekend. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to reintroducing myself. That's what it comes down to. I'm going to reintroduce myself. I feel like I'm finally in a good place. Everything's coming together. Time to shine.
That's the theme. That's what we've been talking about in the preview show and this and that. You spoke to us last time about how, the rough preparations during the pandemic, and this is Dan Hooker in his final form, so to speak. You've been in the hyperbolic time chamber, so Super Saiyan Dan. You're like Vegeta when Goku had the heart problem and no one knew Vegeta was training behind the scenes, and like Vegeta could go Super Saiyan too. Before we get into that though, Dan, dude, this is your second international fight week and 21st fight in the UFC. How crazy is it to think you've had that many fights already in the UFC?
I was thinking that happy 21st. I was gonna, I might have to get a yard glass from somewhere. I'll be the first yardie in the octagon.
Yeah.
Happy 21st.
Dude, I want to go back a little bit, because when you think back to the 24-year-old Dan Hooker who was about to step into his UFC debut in Tahuna versus Marquardt on the 28th of June in 2014, gotta ask, like, what's the one piece of advice that you'd have for him looking back now?
Oh, buckle up. That's about it's about all the heads up you can give yourself. Obviously, like, there's so much challenge and adversity, and good times, hard times, but it's just what builds character. Difficult times build character. So I would have never reached the point that I'm at now if I'd never been through all of those challenges and all of that adversity. So I wouldn't give me a heads up for any of it. I'd say just enjoy the ride.
What were you thinking when you were stepping in there, by the way? Because just to take people back, in 2014, you fighting on this card was a huge deal. There weren't many Australasian fighters signed to the UFC, right? So it was a little bit of a different time. Like, it's not like it is now where you've got all these people representing on the International Fight Week card. But also mentally, like, what were you expecting from yourself? Like, what was the goal at that time when you were just 24 years old?
Oh, bro, I was a kid. I was a kid. I was absolutely clueless as to the situation. Like, I just turned 24 years old. Like, I didn't have a family. I didn't have anything like that. So it was going in blind. Like, it's just ignorance more than anything. You're just going in there. Like, I didn't know the gravity of the situation. I was just a hungry young kid that wanted to get out there and prove that I belonged there with the best guys in the world. And I feel like I went out there and I did that. But yeah, it's been incredible how much growth and maturity that's happened over the years.
Did you have any idea that you'd be sitting at Top Golf, almost 10 years later, still one of the top lightweights in the world, still in the mix, still one of the most popular guys on the roster, when most of the people from 2014, man, like, and all due respect to them, people don't even really remember a lot of the champions from back then.
Oh, it's wild. Like, problems now compared with the problems back then are kind of incomparable. We're just like standing out the front, waiting on our Mercedes to be valeted, and I'm standing there going, this is taking too long. I'm going, what's going on with this? What's going on with this place? I'm yelling at my manager to hurry things. So it's like, it's incomparable. Like, the problems I have today and the problems I had back then are the same. Like, I was a 24-year-old kid, like, going into that fight, I was just thinking, 10 grand? I get 10 grand for this? I was just like, I was absolutely mind blown. Like, when I won that fight, and I think it was like, 14, 15 grand got transferred. I remember showing my missus, we'd only been going out for about a month back then, and I remember showing my missus, I had like 15 grand in the bank account from getting paid, and I was like, check this out, babe. I was like, look how we made it. I was like, we made it. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's funny, like, but that's the thing with it. You just have to constantly set a new bar, constantly set a new goal and a new dream to achieve. Because, I think that's like one of my biggest mistakes, is that I never prepared, or I never guessed for how successful our team would be, how successful, how much potential we had. Like, because everything I set out to achieve, I achieved it. Like, I was like, man, I want to be a UFC fighter. Then I got in the UFC, and I was like, well, this is not enough. I need a new goal. Well, I want to be in the rankings. I got in the rankings. Oh, well, this is not enough. I want something else. I want to be top 10. I want to be top 5. I want heaps of money. I want to be rich. And it's like, you get all of these things, you tick all of these accomplishments, but you get there and you're like, man, this is not enough. So I think, if I could go back, I would say, man, just dream big, kid, because this is like, it's all possible. We're here. We're here. We're just absolutely living a dream right now. It's something that I never thought it had a shred of possibility to be where we are.
Heartwarming, man. I love to hear it. And it's so true. It's funny, like, some of the things that you want so badly, and then when they become the norm and you have it again and again, it's almost like, not that you stop appreciating it, but you just move on to other things and then other things, and it's never enough kind of thing. And it's like, people talk about being grateful, and that's awesome, but if you spend your whole life just being grateful, you're never going to move to those next steps. So it's kind of like about towing the line. I wonder, like, motivation-wise, what gets you sort of out of bed and into the gym now as opposed to, say, 2009? Is it the same, or has it changed a bit?
Sorry, I'm not. Frankie's just chopping balls. This is horrible.
Is he doing the Happy Gilmore out there? I hear him screaming. I hear him screaming over there.
Get in your home. Are you too good for your home?
Yeah. People are too close to him. Everyone's too close to him. You can't
Frankie eats pieces of shit like us for breakfast.
Oh, give me the end of that question. Just remind me. Sorry, lads.
No, that's all right. I was going on a tangent, but like, motivation-wise, what gets you out of bed in the morning now as opposed to, like, in 2009? I imagine in 2009 there was a part of it was like, oh man, I'm in the UFC, this is great. Whereas I think your motivation is very, very different now, right?
Yeah, 2009 you were just kicking off your career, I believe. That would have been like your first fight. Yeah.
I think it just comes full circle. I think it comes full circle. I'm here motivated because I love this, man. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the energy everyone gives you. I love fight week. I love getting out there. I love the fans. I love getting in there fighting, head and shoulders over everything. So it just comes full circle. Like you have that approach and that motivation as a kid or as a young guy coming into the UFC, and then you're thinking, whoa, you start getting distracted, being like, man, well, I have to set up a life for after, and what do I want to do next? And it's like, man, I'm here. I just want to do this. At the end of the day, like, regardless of what happens after or what happens next, like, I appreciate this. I appreciate getting out there and just fighting, because it's just a short space of time that you're able to do this, and I appreciate it so much. I love this. I love strapping those gloves on. I love throwing down. I love hitting. I love getting, I love getting into a dogfight. That you'll never get that out of me. That's what motivates me. That absolutely just fighting. I feel free. There's nothing freer than getting out there and just throwing some strikes.
Yeah, you're a born warrior. I was listening to the chat that you had with David Adesanya, Dave Blackamoto. Great chat, by the way. Anyone who hasn't watched it should check it out. And you were like, oh yeah, the Dustin Poirier fight, it was fun. Like, he's just so fun to fight. It's like, fun to fight. Fun to fight. Holy shit. Our definitions of fun are different. I think it's fun to watch for me. For you, fun to fight. But I was going to ask you, like, have you always been like this? Like, you look like you're, I don't know, about to jump in the pool or something. It's fight week. You're taking on Jalin Turner. Boys are at Top Golf. Have you always been this sort of relaxed and chilled around fight week, or were things different back in the day?
I think, like, the actual fight is, I've always had the same mentality going into the actual fight. Like, that's at the end of the day what I'm there for. You're like, you're focused. But that's something that I've learned of Israel. That's something that I've learned of, like, guys like Alex, especially of Israel, is that like, you can still have fun, you can still relax. So we're just sitting here at Top Golf, hitting some balls in Vegas with all the boys. You know what I mean? Like, that's another thing. Like, just because something's horrible doesn't mean it's good. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're starving yourself, just because you're training too much, that doesn't mean you're getting any fitter. That doesn't mean your weight's going to go any better. You know, what we do in our team is surround ourselves by the best. Get the best wrestling coaches, got the best striking coaches, got the best nutritionists. You know what I mean? We just surround ourselves with the best guys, and then you can just trust it. Me as the fighter, I have the easiest job in the world. Like, I just float around, everything's organized. I'm not stressing because there's nothing to stress about. This week's about enjoyment. I just get out there and I can enjoy myself. The fight is something I never have to stress about. That's something I love, regardless of what happens. I absolutely love getting out there. So yeah, there's nothing to stress about. That's the trick of the question.
Now, just going back to Frankie for a sec, I hope a 99-year-old Bob Barker doesn't run into him at the Top Golf, because I don't want Frankie getting in a fist fight that he might not be able to handle. But I just want to bring up
Bobby.
But I just want to bring up Jalin Turner in this fight, man, because for a lot of people, they're like, why isn't Dan Hooker fighting, some of the veterans in the division, guys like Tony Ferguson, other guys that have big name value, but maybe aren't at this point the most challenging people to fight. And from what we understand with you, you're not interested in fighting guys with big name value and just going in there just to be in there. You're in there because you want to be in the top of the mix. You want to show people you're the best of the best. And that's not something that you see often from people throughout their career. We've seen people try to take the easier fights, just try to stay in there. But the thing about you is, if you look at your resume, you fight the best of the best of the best back to back. And I don't think that's really been talked about enough. And I don't think people have sort of praised you enough for that. Take us into that mentality, man. Like, what makes you want to, at all times, take the biggest challenge, even if they don't have the biggest name value, but just out of the fact that they are the biggest challenge?
Yeah, well, obviously I broke my hand, and then I was getting back into training, like easing back into training, and then I think like someone fought, and I was like, well, my manager Ash, I go, what about this guy? Like a top contender. Can't remember who it was. was like, I messaged Ash, oh, what about this guy for the next fight? And he replied, we asked for Tony Ferguson. And I was so fucking offended. That sparked me. I was like, oh, fuck this. Like, the doctors were saying you got to wait another month for your hand before you can get back into training. I said, fuck that. And I went and sparred like the next day because I was like so offended. I was like, that guy, like, that's not what I want to be. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to have the veteran versus veteran fight. Like, I'm here to be the best. I'm here to challenge myself against the best guys in the world. So that, I would say, was the spark for this. I jumped straight back into training. I got as fit as I've ever been. And it was like a real turning point. That's just not something I'm interested in, is finding people not of that, like, elite, or guys that as soon as you come out and you say retirement, you've lost my interest. Who was it? Yeah, like some of the other guys, like RDA said, yeah, like, don't really have title hopes anymore. Just want to derail some content. I was like, I want to fight title contenders. Like, that's what I'm here for. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning, is trying to be the best.
I could just never see you retiring, man. Like, listening to you chatting with Dave, you're already like bare knuckle. Your eyes are lighting up. You're like, yeah, bare knuckle. That's where it's at.
Yeah, people are like thinking, oh, you're already planning your escape route. I was like thinking, no, I'm gonna be like 48. I was like, This is not like. I was like, everyone needs to just chill out. Everyone needs to relax. I was like, this is not in the next 6 months, my friend. This is in the next 20 years. Like, we got time. We got time.
You're a quarter through your UFC run so far. There's still a lot of Dan left.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why every time I see Matt Brown fight, I'm like, oh man, you're just pushing the boat further and further out. I'm like, now I'm gonna have to wait. I'm going to have to wait till 42 before I stop fighting the UFC. I was like, oh, man. I'm like, hurry up and call it a day so I can be like, all right, 43. and then I'm finished with the UFC.
And start with bare knuckle boxing. They're like, no, go back to the UFC.
Last time you fought somebody this big, Jalin, being 6'3", like, you're a big guy yourself. But last time we fought someone so tall was James Vick. I wonder how Jalen's size sort of impacts the strategy for this one.
Yeah, like, he's got a real interesting style. Like, he's very different from a lot of my previous opponents, but it's like the same thing. I don't think he's fought anyone that fights as long or as tall as I fight. Like, he's fought a bit higher and like welterweight and stuff like that. But this against like Vicente Luque, like a pressure fighter who's gonna, like, it's just a bit that, like, I'm as interested as everyone else. Like, obviously I have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. Like, it is that list of plans, you know what I mean? So I'm just excited to see how far down the list I have to go until I can figure that style out.
Yeah, 100%. Just super quickly, speaking of things to figure out, something you don't have to figure out anymore is how you're going to get the best beard of your life. Our good friends at Manscaped are officially in the beard trimming business, and they're launching the Beard Hedger in a sexy pack called the Beard Hedger Pro. This thing's unbelievable. 41mm titanium coated T-blade for a comfortable trim and blade durability. My most favorite part right here, rotary zoom wheel with 20 precision length settings for a custom length trim. I used to have a whole bunch of different shavers, big brands, German brands, and I'd have a million different attachments because I like the bottom of my beard to be just a slight longer than the sides. It used to be a whole thing. Now with Manscaped, they make it super easy with this rotary wheel. Up to 20 different precision length settings. That's unbelievable. You can do whatever you want with your beard. You can have the finest touch. You can shave off your mustache and have a long beard and look like you're the next great wrestler in the UFC. They've got it everything. And best of all, it's got the advanced lift comb for flat lying hairs for smooth single stroke trimming, and it's waterproof. I used to always shave my beard, then shave my head, then have a shower. Now everything done all in one shot. You can shave while you're showering and save time and get the best beard of your life. And also, best of all, like I mentioned, the Beard Hedger Pro Kit is the ultimate beard care bundle, and it comes with also the beard shampoo, the beard conditioner, beard oil, beard balm, and free gifts with beard brush, beard comb, beard scissors, and of course the beard hedger itself. Can't go wrong. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, man. Well, that position, you could be the game of the beard game, be the Triple H, the cerebral assassin of your face, and get 20% off with the code word submission and free shipping now at manscaped.com right now, Cass.
That's right. The beard hedger is that damn good. You know what else is good? Our good friends, our good friends at Fanzo, who are helping you find locations, showing you the fights. UFC 290 this weekend. Have you ever been in that position where you're like, hey, let's get the boys, let's go to the pub, let's go to the bar, let's watch fights, but you don't know if that bar or pub is actually showing the fights. You're making a million phone calls, you're waiting on hold, you're asking specific questions like, will you have the commentary or not? People are like, I think so. Then you go there, they don't have the commentary. Super frustrating. Our good friends at Fanzo eliminate all that and make your life easier. I'm on the app right now. Look at this. You scroll down, you got Volkanovski, Rodriguez, you go in there, and then it shows the bars and pubs in your location. Let's take the Hotel Brighton as an example right here. Exceptional food, pub sports, epic beer garden. That's the highlights. You've got the trading hours right there. You've got photos, so you know what you're looking at. There's one screen. Absolutely not. That's not going to do it for me. See, saved us a trip to the Brighton Hotel. Sorry, Brighton Hotel. You just don't cut it. Okay, the Grand Hotel. What do we think of the Grand Hotel? The photos look good. 20 screens. See, I like 20 screens. Commentary, food, Wi-Fi, beer garden, projector, outdoor screen. You've sold me. Cool. So then you scroll back up, you hit the map button, and you're on the way to sesh with the boys. Fans are making it easy, right, Dennis?
That's right, man. And don't forget, when you take the boys there, that's your reputation on the line. So if you don't have the right pub, the boys are going to trust you again. Fanzo makes it easy for UFC fans looking to watch the fights ahead of the big events. And of course, check out UFC 290 through the Fanzo website. Select the UFC 290 fixture to find a bunch of pubs and bars showing the fight near you that will appear. Fanzo is the ultimate venue finder to help UFC fans find the best sports bars and pubs showing UFC 290. Just go to fanzo.com or click the link in the description and get sorted for the boys this weekend with UFC 290.
All right, Dan, back to you. With this Jalin fight, I'm curious because last time we spoke about how, something that you wanted to prove is like how different the preparation makes, now that you've actually had a proper preparation, proper camp, proper training situation. I'm also curious though, like if you go in there, you beat a guy like Jalin Turner, who a lot of people are seeing as like a potential, future of the division, future young, hungry up-and-comer. If you fend off a guy like that, what kind of statement do you think that sends to the rest of the division?
Oh, it definitely puts me back in the mix. So you get a win like that over Turner, you're back. You're back in the top 10. You're back in the mix. You're back. People back on a bandwagon. That's just the beauty of this. That's the beauty of the sport. You can change your life in a single night, and that's kind of where I feel like things are going here. I'm just excited for that. I'm excited for the contest, and I'm excited for how everyone responds to it. But I already know how it's going to go. There's no question in my mind of how this night goes.
How is it going in your mind?
That's the beauty, boys. I get to what I see in my mind, or what I visualize in my mind is the picture I get to go out there and paint, and so it's what I see now, but it's not. I can't show you a sneak peek just yet. You gotta wait to see. He's gotta buy your pay-per-views, boys. You gotta buy your pay-per-views. You gotta wait to see the picture, the masterpiece I'm working on.
This is just leading to an OnlyFans page, and I was going to say maybe a new nickname is the Blood Picasso Super Saiyan, because there's going to be an artwork done this weekend, and I can't wait to pay to see it. Just quickly, man.
The OnlyFans handle is at Hungman Hooker.
I was thinking that. I was like, man, I hope it's a bloody fight. I'm like, what's the hair to pink?
Yeah,
that'll be cool.
Yeah,
Ric Flair, 1989.
Yep.
Here we go. I love it.
Woo.
We won't really talk about the division too long, but just quickly, your old mate Armin, he's now in a nice position in the rankings. If things go to plan against Jalin, would you be interested in taking out another prospect on your way to your title shot?
Oh, bro, I'll fight. You already know I'll fight absolutely anyone.
Because you guys have had some hilarious exchanges, especially some of the stuff you've said to him.
I'll fight absolutely anyone. Like, if that's the next thing, that's the next thing. He's a fucking dweeb, though. Like, I've got no... I don't think I'd get to the fight without kicking him in at the press conference. Like, I don't... I don't have too many kind words for him.
I'd look forward to the press conference. Just on another note, and we'll let you go in a second, Dan, so you can enjoy some Top Golf. Is part of the blessing here fighting alongside your teammate, Alex Volkanovski? I mean, I feel like that's kind of been another theme of your career, right? Like, just getting to do it with the boys, you know, and these international fight weeks, man, it just becomes more Australasian every year, it seems. And sometimes it's like the CKB show. I mean, how good is that?
Oh, bro, it's so good having all the boys over here. You know, it's not just, it was like 20 of us coming over, 20, 30 boys.
The energy.
All hanging out together at Top Golf. Like, yeah, you definitely feed off each other. And me and Volk do well. The last time was, Volk fought a Taker, and then I fought, Hug for us. So we had a good night that night. We're lining it up for another good one.
Mm. How do you see that fight between him and Yair going as we wrap?
Yeah, like, I haven't been training with him or seen like any strategy for his camp, but I think once he closes the distance on Yair, that'll be hard. You know, once Volk gets his hands on, like, obviously Yair is like really good out long and then on the ground as well. If you give him space, like, he's quite dangerous. But once Volko buries his forehead in your chest, you're in a bit of trouble. So I see it, a bit of a Frankie Edgar versus Yair performance, I think.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Well, I can't wait to see the artwork this weekend, guys. Make sure to follow Dan at Dan Hangman, and of course on well, I guess we can announce it now at
Hungman Hooker.
At Hungman Hooker on the OnlyFans coming this weekend as well. The behind the scenes pics of the blood through their hair. It's gonna be vintage Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, and I can't wait to see it. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to see you get back in the mix after this fight with Jalin this weekend.
Appreciate it, boys. We'll talk after.
100%. Best of luck. Lots of love, Dan. See you, man.
Yes, boys. Thank you.
Hey, Dan. Bye.